I would just like to point out that we have completely handed over these processes to the NOC and to the Minister of Oil, and they will adjust the plans and the procurements according to what they see fit. So the oil team within the stabilization team, some members of it have become members of the oil ministry and continue in that capacity. But as far as the stabilization team is concerned, we've handed over completely to the ministries and to the NOC. Regarding the relationship between the NOC and the ministry, as you know, in the history of Libya, there's been many changes in that regard. There is no set pattern. But what I can tell you is that the plan is to give opportunities to the young people, bright young people, and great professionals that we have in the oil sector that were always in the past suppressed through political decisions that made no sense. So it will be oil ministry and NOC of competence and competence-based, and we're confident that Libyans do have the expertise and the know-how to carry this forward, and what we've seen from the young people in the country has just been tremendous. So we will leave it up to the Minister of Oil and to the NOC and to the Prime Minister to make the decisions. But one thing that gives us confidence in whatever decisions they make is the human capital, which is the young Libyan oil experts that we have.
Focusing on the UAE angle, of course. The first one is, can you specify again just what exactly the UAE has provided in terms of aid? You had mentioned they were helping with evacuations to Jordan and giving police vehicles and uniforms. But specifically, what else have they given and what else are you asking for from them? That's the first part. And the second part is, in terms of the companies that are here seeking information about their investments in Libya or wanting to go back, what kind of coordination or authorization do they take, I guess, from Libyan officials that are there? And to what extent are they actually returning? For example, with HSBC starting operations again, what does that mean on the ground?
Okay. Now, regarding UAE help, UAE help is far too vast to be able to address very quickly, but I will try. Number one was political help. As you know, the UAE played a vital role in not only convincing the GCC countries, but also the Arab League and the United Nations on supporting the National Transitional Council. The support was early, it was vigorous, and it was vital. Okay, and this is very important. Secondly, there was military help in the imposition of the no-fly zone and the implementation of the resolutions 1970 and 73. This is a very costly and detailed and involved help, and they participated with a substantial number of aircraft and other military means. Thirdly, there was again security help with the Interior Ministry. And I mentioned the vehicles and the uniforms, and also help with advice on restructuring and training for the Interior Ministry, and now the Supreme Committee for Security. And fourthly, and this is the most important kind of help, is humanitarian help. The UAE helped with the Red Crescent camps in Tunisia, setting up camps and also supplying hospitals and evacuating the wounded, and also helping with the payment of expenses of the wounded. And it has been really a tremendous job. We are now in discussion with them regarding new, fresh situations. Misrata, brave young people who are coming back wounded from the Sirt front and from Jufra and other places, and also in the Nafusa mountain fighters who are coming back from the south. So the UAE help has been sustained, it has been persistent, and it has been, I must say, personally followed up by the leadership of this country. Which is very, very much appreciated. Now, regarding companies who are working or were working in Libya before and who would like to go back, Dr. Najib Sarraj is an expert on development and infrastructure, has lived in this country, has run various companies and projects, and is part of a prominent Tripolitanian family. That is actually some of his relatives are in the Tripoli Council itself and doing a great job there. And he has the networks here and there plus a number of prominent business people here, like Kamal Darrat, like Bashir Shabbah for logistics. There is a committee for commercial and economic matters, and this committee is meeting with companies and facilitating whatever information that they need and facilitating their return to Libya as soon as possible. And that's the way we work in this embassy. We have various committees. There is a financial committee, an economic committee, legal committee, and it's basically the community serving Libya. We're only providing the space for them to do so.
Hi, I'm April Yee from the National Newspaper. My questions are for Misters Gariani and Shatter. And first, you mentioned that so there was some credit granted against the frozen funds. How much credit has been granted so far, and what banks have been willing to do so? Are they willing enough? Second, about LIA, how soon could it be functioning again, issuing new investments? And finally, Libya was an economy that was very dependent on oil, natural gas. Is this an opportunity for Libya to create a new future, diversify, create a non-oil economy?
I'll take the first part about the credit. I mean, no credit. The frozen assets have, as yet, not been used as security against extending credit. It's something we're hoping to do in the very near future. Hopefully, with the release of frozen assets, it will now be possible. Thus far, legalities have prevented the use of those frozen assets as a security against extending credit facilities to Libyan banks, local Libyan banks, which were not subject to any restrictions. There were several banks in Libya throughout the last 6 months which were not subject to any UN or OFAC restrictions because they were not owned by the Libyan government. So hopefully now this can be done.
Just to add on this point, there are actually some discussions with several banks who expressed willingness to go down that path. But the speedy events of the last 4 weeks have halted those discussions to see the outcome of obviously the conflict. And I'm happy to say that with the victories for the Tuar in 90% of the country, there is general ease from the international banks on dealings with the Libyan government, to the TNC, and we're seeing great cooperation in that respect at the moment. Sorry, if you just remind me of the other two parts.
How soon do you think LIA can function?
Right, the LIA is obviously, the assets are frozen, and I think they're using this time to rebuild the institution from within. The board needs to be reconstituted, the board of trustees as well, and those are events taking place at the moment. So you will see some movement in the LIA in the coming few weeks, and I'll leave them to comment on that at the time.
And finally, is there an opportunity for Libya to diversify into non-oil?
Absolutely. I think this is the desire of all Libyans who've worked inside and outside the country. I think Libya is lucky to have not only the oil resource, but other resources. And I think the new direction of the country should be to diversify away from just oil-based economy. And I think you will see some concrete steps towards that once things are stable in the country and the government in general.
Can you give some examples of potential industries, and also what would be a good mix in GCP?
I think I can only give you my personal opinion here and not the opinion of the TNC or the government. I think looking at the Libyan situation, Libya is very close to 500 million consumers in Europe. We have abundant space, abundant energy, and access to cheap labor. And I think manufacturing could be something that we could look forward to, both heavy and light industries. I think we could look at diversified sectors such as tourism, such as service industries. We can definitely look at creating new settlements, new cities along the coast and inside, where we can stimulate contact with with other countries and try to bring industries closer to North Africa, to the Arab world, and to the region. So I think, and these are plans that we've worked on in the past as individuals. I was personally involved in a plan with the planning department and the Economic Development Board at the time, where we've put some of these ideas to them, and there was a good reception. And I think that that direction will continue in the future.